Hello, welcome back. I've missed you. It's been too long. Anyways, guys, welcome 90 Day the Melanated Way. I am your host, Linda Antwi. We are talking about happily ever after. Is it happily ever after? Because they just give me stress. Let's talk about sex. Season 6, episode 13. What do I want to do first? Hi, Kathy. Hi from Ohio. Ohio. Gozaimasu. Yeah, we'll do some housekeeping first. Housekeeping. Support the show wherever you're watching. Thumbs up wherever you are. Thumbs up. That'd be very, very helpful. If you guys find it in your heart to support the show, it's scrolling at the bottom of your screen where you can support the show if you're not, and even if you are a Patreon subscriber. It makes the show. It helps us grow. All of that stuff. Shout out to my Patreon subscribers. Olivia, Vanessa, Trisha, Sandra, Carol, Trina, Danielle, Rebecca, Marianne, Nia, Ray Della, hey girl, hey. I see you in the live chat. Linda, Brianna, Crystal, hey girl, hey. Nicole, Amanda, Julissa, down over at Anchor FM, Chandra, Judy, and Beth. Love y'all. Thank you for your support. You guys are the ones that make the show possible. Tomorrow, just FYI, there's some timing changes in the show times. Love After Lockup, we usually do at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're doing it at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because I have a press screening to go to outside in the real world. And then I'll be back 8 p.m. doing and covering Darcy and Stacy. So please make that note. You guys, I know a lot of you have reached out to me. A lot of you kind of over this season, you're over happily ever after. You guys are just over it. Some of you guys are bored with it. Some of you guys are bored with the storyline. And I get it. Because this season seems like it's been a really long season. And it also seems like we're seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And we just got off 90 Day Fiance with many of the same cast members. So there's been like no break from them. Great news. If you haven't checked out our 90 Day the Melanated Instagram page, and even on Facebook, I posted it there. 90 Day the Other Way is coming back, y'all, and there are 3 new couples. So, just like Love in Paradise, I'm feeling the new people. We need some fresh talent, fresh face, fresh stories. And so that's coming back next month. We are going to see some familiar faces, though, but it's mixed in with some brand new people, and I think that's going to be great. We're full up. You guys, we've got Love in Paradise going. We've got Darcy and Stacy going right now. We're still in Happily Ever After. 90 Day the Other Way is about to start. Plus, all of the pillow talks and all of that stuff. So, TLC and Discovery Plus, we're full up. We're full up. All right. Let's talk about Michael. Michael's playing ping pong with his friends, the goofballs, as Angela likes to call them, Bodie and Peter and all of them. And he tells them that he's reconciled with Angela. And he thinks that he's doing a little something, you guys. Because, Angela doesn't like that he has friends. Angela tries to control every little thing that Michael does and says that he can't have friends. He can't work. He can't. And so he feels like, you see a little smirk on his face. He feels like he was doing a little something because he's feeling like he's Mr. Independent because he's hanging out with his friends. Michael, you're like 32, 34, 32 or 34. He's something like that. Let's just say 32. And you're a grown-ass man. I don't understand why your friends who have been there before Angela, why you allow her to control you and say you can't hang out with your friends just because she doesn't like them. What? I mean, I get it. I get we're on the path to the green card. I get you put your time in. I get it. I get that you're like, you got a mission and you've already put in your time. I get it, but it just sounds stupid to me that you can't hang out with your friends because your woman who tries to control you tells you that. Like, grow some balls. That's it. Grow some balls. Okay. And speaking of growing some balls, he tells them about the video, the sex FaceTime thing that they had, which I totally think was unnecessary. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to rehash it in my mind. And I don't think that they really cared either. Like, some things should be private. Like, yeah, you want to tell your friends like, hey, woo, 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 and they did this and they did that. And I get that part, but that's not what this was. He was kind of saying like, we had some sexy time versus on video chat because like, that's my woman. And we reconciled. Okay. No one cares. Honestly, no one cares. No, no one cares. I don't need to relive the Bubba Bath scene. And I don't think you all do either. And his friend said the same thing. Peter's like, I don't think she's sexy. I didn't need to know all that. I wouldn't want to see her naked and all the stuff, right? Because they don't like Angela either, right? So it's a whole thing. But they make some jokes, which I thought was funny. So because apparently Michael's a boob man, so they were kind of teasing him whether there were oranges or watermelons, like what does that look like? And there's a different. Just give us like a fruit comparison. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then we're going to need to talk about this, you guys. I need to talk about it, and I need to talk about it right now. Michael does it to camera. Now, Michael says that he breastfed till he was 9 years old. 9. Not 9. I thought I heard it wrong, like maybe 9 months. No, 9 years of age. 9. And that he says it's not common in his culture. It's something more personal for him. Then he talks about how he used to play with them and he used to suck on them. Okay. Okay. Where should I begin? Should I begin with neutral Linda, or should I begin with what I really want to say, Linda? I'm going to start with what I really want to say. What the fuck is happening right now? Like, what's happening right now? You're trying to tell the world that you breastfed, that you drank your mother's milk from her boob to the age of 9? I have never in my life. And then you said it was something personal. It sounds like more than personal, my friend. That sounds like an issue. And I cannot believe that your mother went along with it. And so were you breastfeeding while you were eating regular food and going to school? Like, how did that work? Did your mama go to school with you? Like, wait, till you were 9? And then you want to sit to camera all calm with a little bit of smirk on your face and tell the world that you used to play with your mama's tatas and suck on them till you were 9? Listen, y'all. Listen. Okay? And then you want to explain that that's why you're a boob man? It all makes sense to me now. It all, and if it doesn't make sense to you, it's about to make sense to you. This is why you're like 32 years old and your woman's like 50, 60 years old. You have a thing, right? You have a mama complex, right? And Angela's like your mama. And now it all makes sense to me. So when I'm saying that Angela's controlling you and you sit there and take Angela like yelling at you and degrading you and all of that stuff, it's like, and I'm not saying his mom does that, but you know how if you're a child and you act up, you're going to get scolded. I think he's stuck in that. I think this 32-year-old is stuck in the 9-year-old mindset. And the 9-year-old mindset who breastfed till he was 9, got scolded when he did bad things, okay? Couldn't go out to play with his friends when he did bad things, is the same relationship he's in with Angela right now, who's old too, right? And so the whole boob thing, like, it just all makes sense to me, and it's bizarre. I am stuck. I'm stuck. 9, y'all, 9. You're in school at 9 years old. At 5 years old, you're in kindergarten, okay? 6 and 7-year-olds are grade 1, okay? So you're like by 9, you're like in grade 4. Can you imagine? You're in grade 4. It's very odd. It's very odd. What did your lunchtime look like? What does dinner time look like? I have questions. And I'm going to need Michael to elaborate because you're 9 years old. But like, just wow. So he tells his friends that he is in the midst of the visa process still, and also that he still thinks he's going to have a kid with Angela. Are we delusional? Because we've been following Michael and Angela for like 4 years. Okay, he still hasn't come to America, and she is absolutely not going to have a baby now, especially because she's got her whole body makeover. Skyla's not giving any type of egg to you. So why are we acting delusional? Why is he acting brand new? Why is he acting like he knows that there's no baby coming from Angela's side of the family? There's just none. And so I'm not sure why we're still talking about it, to be honest. I'm not sure why in his mind he's got this delusion that Angela is going to take Skyla's egg, that he's going to provide the sperm that's going to be frozen and sent from Nigeria to Atlanta, and that egg from Skyla and that sperm from Nigeria are then going to be implanted in Angela. I'm just, why are we thinking that? What possibly could have happened since Angela has no eggs? What possibly could have happened since Skyla said no, never, ever, never, ever? What possibly could have happened when you're not even there yet? So you think it's a great idea. You think Angela, who bullied you, who just did a whole makeover and then some, is about to get pregnant? Meanwhile, she's taking care of 6 kids. I'm just, you decided to marry her. You said the most important thing for you is to be a father. She said that she didn't know if she could have a kid. Then we found out that she had 1 egg, but then we found out that egg wasn't really even an egg, so she can't have babies. Then she said Skyla would give her one, and Skyla said no. So like, I'm just trying to figure out where in that journey, because we've all seen it, that he is stuck on having a baby with Angela when Angela's clearly said that that's not what's going to happen. And she even said it in this episode. She said, you know, I'm going to entertain this whole go see a specialist fertility guy, but she is not. She just got her new sexy body. She is not trying to do all of that. She's not trying to have a baby at 54. Okay. So he's still in the midst of the visa process. Still thinks he's having a kid, and he thinks that he's going to be able to ship his sperm to the US. And the thing is, though, Michael is trying also, okay, there's a lot going on with Michael. Michael's also trying to say that he has never masturbated in his life. And he doesn't masturbate because it goes against his religion. And he's never done it before. So masturbating goes against your religion, but getting blowjobs does not go against your religion. Masturbating goes against your religion, but last week you were popping your penis for Angela. That doesn't go against your religion. Masturbating goes against your religion, but you have phone sex with Angela on a regular. But that doesn't go against your religion. I'm going to need to know what religion you follow. And I'm also going to need to know what the rules are, because clearly they're bendable. So I have a hard time believing that you can give a blowjob and get a blowjob, but you can't masturbate on your own. And I'm having a hard time believing that a 30-something-year-old has never masturbated in his life. I don't believe it for 1 minute. And so you're not going to know what to do when you go to the fertility clinic. And oh, by the way, you're against porn. You know what, Michael? You're doing way too much right now, okay? Because for me, it's just not making sense. It's not making sense that you breastfed till you were 9. You told the world that you used to play and suck on your mama's tatas, till you were 9, but you have phone sex with your now wife, and she wasn't your wife for a few years, so you were still having phone sex. Then you tell us that you don't masturbate because it's against your religion, but we know you cheated when you first met her and got a blowjob, but that's not against your religion. So like, I don't know. And then you I think he threw out Christianity like under his breath, but I think he didn't really want to commit to it because, you know, there's a world of Christians that looking at him side eyes. So like, something's not adding up there at all. So now you want, because your friend said that they've heard that you can go to a fertility clinic and that you could get your sperm tested, and then you're going to jizz in a cup and they're going to freeze it, and it's going to make it all the way from Nigeria to Atlanta, Georgia, in time for you all to impregnate Angela, but you don't have an egg to, like, you guys just make it make sense, because like as I talk about it, I sound stupid saying it because it sounds stupid. There's no logic in it. And then Michael goes and he's on the street and like he buys pineapples, and like, you guys, I don't have to tell you, you can Google it for yourself, the whole what pineapples do, and you know, pineapples in preparing for a romantic rendezvous. So Michael has to know a little something about something, right? Because those pineapples and then like what you're talking about, that was not a coincidence. That was not a coincidence that you're sitting there about to FaceTime with your wife eating pineapples, and then you're going to talk about how you never masturbated before. Stop it. So he calls Angela, and she's, you know, same Angela that she's been all season. She's bitter. She's angry that the dog that she bought was not caged by the children that she takes care of, and that the dog has pooped and peed all over the house and she has to clean it up. And Angela wants to talk about how she's like feeling better. She's looking better. She's put a lot of work into losing all this weight. And meanwhile, like, she's still drinking soda and smoking. But that's beside the point. She talks about how when she was in her 40s, 42 to be exact, they used to call her Big A, and she used to win wet t-shirt contests. And then she talks about how when she's like feeling like 100% from her surgeries, that she's going to enter a wet t-shirt contest again. And are you really? Are those your goals right now? The funny thing that she said that I thought was interesting is, you guys, she said that she retired at age 42. Did y'all know that? I thought she was a home care worker all through the time that we met her 4 years ago. But apparently she's been retired since she's 42. So, I mean, I guess she did something right. Retiring at 42 is a pretty big deal. And so now her goals are to be in a wet t-shirt contest. And I just, like, where do you guys hold those? Is that, like, Andrew, I think Amanda, yeah. Is that still a thing in 2021? Is it? Are y'all in Georgia doing wet t-shirt contests still? Because that sounds very 80s to me. Sounds very 80s. And like, what women are going to enter that in 2021? Just saying. But maybe Angela will make her own. It'll be all her friends, and she will relive her glory days. I don't know. But her goal now, because her tatas have healed, is that she's going to enter a wet t-shirt contest. Okay. Michael wants to talk about having a baby, and she freaks out. She says, "Are you out of your mind?" She starts cussing like she does. She starts raising her voice, and he says that, you know, there's an opportunity there, and because she's getting older and he's still there, that he wants to go to a fertility clinic, get a sperm tested, freeze the sperm, fertilize them with Skyla's egg, and she goes off. She doesn't want a baby. I don't know how many times that she can tell Michael that she doesn't want a baby. I don't know how many times that she can tell Michael that Skyla said no. I don't get it. Like, is he delusional right now? I don't get it. Why are we holding on to something that is obviously not true? And the simple fact that you are trying to say, Michael, that your biggest thing is you want to be a father in life. You want to be a father. You want to be a father. That was your non-negotiable. Well, obviously it was negotiable because you still married Angela. We've had this conversation with Michael 3 years ago, and she wasn't having a baby then, and she's absolutely not having a baby now that she's gotten all that surgery. So Angela tells us how, she was trying to put this baby talk on hold till he got to the U.S. because she ain't, listen, you guys, I hate to say it, I hate to break it to you, he's never coming to the U.S. as far as she's concerned, right? Will he make it here? Maybe, but I don't think it's in her immediate plans to have him here anytime soon. Why is he, out of all the why? And I know I'm not talking about the last few years where, things were a little bit different of a political climate in America. I'm talking about pre all of that. He still hadn't arrived. And here we are 4 years later and he still hasn't arrived. And, where are you? Where are you in this process? The K1 didn't work. And so now you're on a C1. You guys are already married. Something's wrong. Something's seriously wrong. And so, for her to say, I'm putting the baby talk on hold to the U.S., she might know something that we don't know. I'm just saying. So Angela's agreed to allow him, her words, allow him to go see the fertility specialist as long as she's there. So she's going to be there to watch him masturbate that he doesn't know how to do. So that just sounds like a shit show to me. Because I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe him. And I don't believe that what are y'all doing? Because right now, you're just like taking up my TV viewing time. And I just think it's bizarre. Like that whole storyline for this episode, I could have personally done without. I didn't need to know about the 9-year-old thing. I didn't need to know about his personal beliefs on pleasuring himself. I didn't need to know any of it. And I definitely didn't need to talk about him having a baby where we all know that he's just not having one. Okay. That could have just go past this. All I know is Angela's going to yell at you. She's going to cuss. You're going to suck it up as you normally do. You had a small window of opportunity to man up and grow a pair. And you almost did for a quick second. And then guess what? You back down again and, your balls shrivel back up and now you're just there and she's in charge how she was always in charge and you're just taking it. And I just think it's sad because you're a grown ass man and you should be able to do grown ass man things. Moving on to Andrei and Elizabeth. She's studying Romanian and they've been back for a couple of weeks. Everyone flew back because of, they were all fighting at the aunt's house and it was a hot mess. But her and Andrei drove back in the RV because, someone had to drive back in the RV. And yes, I'm going to mention the paper plates again because I can't not mention it. So Andrei made breakfast for Elizabeth and popped it on the paper plate and they were sharing it, which, I'm not about to make your meal and eat on a paper plate. And I will continue to talk about this until I'm blue in the face. But that's what happened. Andrei feels like things are really great with Chuck. And he's loving life. They've gotten closer. Elizabeth thinks that they've gotten closer as well. However, it's a shit show with her and Andrei and her siblings, right? Because they're not getting along and they're all still fighting all the time about everything. And it all comes down to money. And I'm going to say it right now, Chuck, you're responsible for what's happening because you're allowing the discord to continue. And you could put your foot down because you're the only one that's in charge of the business. So you could stop this immediately, but you choose not to. Okay. So, they go to the house that they're going to be flipping with Chuck. And it's going to be Chuck, it's going to be Libby, and it's going to be Andrei. Chuck is bringing the money to the table. Libby is going to be the designer. And by Andrei's own words, he'll do something, quote, by himself. You guys, when he said that, I cracked the fuck up. Like, you'll do something by yourself? Oh, good for you. Good for you to be finally doing something by yourself. And what will that something be, Andrei? Because I guess you're a handyman. And the last time I saw you being handy, it kind of didn't make sense to me personally when you started like taking the fridge off the door when honestly you were throwing the whole fridge away so the door could just go with it. But I mean, you can, your quote, do some things by yourself and bring the sweat equity. But I'm just, what exactly will you be doing? What value are you bringing to the table? Because we know that Chuck's bringing all the money. Libby's going to be the designer, and she has some experience in this house flipping field. And you are doing what? Sweat equity. And I just, what is that sweat equity going to look like? However, it's their first project. Chuck pops in, and here's something else that totally distracted me. So Eleanor's walking around, Chuck comes in, and, you know, Elizabeth is trying to hype up Chuck, you know, Grandpa's here, Grandpa's here, Grandpa's here. And Eleanor runs from Chuck when he arrives and like hides behind Elizabeth. And I thought that was really interesting, you guys. It was super interesting because, you know, kids don't lie. And kids are like, you know, they sense things. And I don't know what it is, but she was not trying to be anywhere near her grandpa at that moment. So take what you will from that. Chuck feels that Andrei's made a lot of effort to get to know him. Yes, because you hold the money, Chuck. You have the purse. Of course he's making an effort because he wants his 100,000. He just wants money from you. He wants you to do for him what you've done for your own biological children. He feels entitled to that money. Your money is his money. So yeah, he's making an effort to get to know you, Chuck. Yep. And if he can get that 100,000 in his hands quicker, then that helps. Oh, and guess what? You're going to split the profits on this house that you bought 50-50, and he's going to, quote, do some things by himself. Yeah, that's easily what, 140,000 in his pocket. So it's more than the 100,000 that he asked for. So yeah. Yep, he's getting to know you. So Chuck says he's going to continue to keep his word. He's going to mentor Andrei, and they're going 50-50 on this. Now, we find out that they bought the house, or Chuck bought the house for 160,000, and he feels after they fix it up that he'll be able to sell it for 280. So if he splits that 50-50 with Andrei, that's 140K a piece, right? And then we find out that through Andrei's sweat equity, it will also be his listing. So he's going to make the money off the listing, and it's going to be a problem for Elizabeth's sister, right? Because Becky is usually the one that's the lister. And so we already see where this is going. And again, I'm going to tell you guys, I don't understand. There's so many real estate agents and agencies in Florida. Like, why can't he just go and get a job somewhere else? Why can't any of them just go get a job somewhere else? Because they don't want to, because guess what? Chuck has the money, and they can do whatever. They can work however they want to work, mediocre if they need to, because the money's always going to be there, because guess what? It's Chuck's money, and Chuck's their dad. It's crazy to me. So Chuck says and reminds us that he's helped all of his other kids like this, and he's going to help out Andrei because Andrei is married to Elizabeth. And however, we do find out that Elizabeth has never flipped a house before with her dad. It's only been her other siblings that have done this. So this is definitely something that's brand new for her as well. And they're doing it because Andrei has not ever worked a day in his life since he came to America. And someone who's already paying for all their bills, right? Because Elizabeth works for Chuck already. So Chuck is already paying for all their stuff anyways. So Chuck is trying to get a little something back from already paying for their lifestyle. Bizarre. It's just, this whole thing is just so bizarre to me. So, Chuck wants to be helpful. He wants to help Andrei. And meanwhile, Andrei's like talking shit about Charlie. And I want to tell you something, how Charlie in his last house, he lost money because he was too busy partying. Blah, blah. I was like, oh, Andrei, you just sound like a little bitch right now. Like, you just sound like a big gossiping bitch. And it's not attractive, right? I get that you feel like you have some type of competition with Charlie. And I don't know, and I don't really, we all have our own opinions on Charlie. But Charlie does have experience, and Charlie has flipped houses. And, if we're talking about the last two houses and you think about the housing market in the last year and a half through the pandemic, you probably did lose some money. Right? So for Andrei with no experience to talk shit about that, it just seems stupid to me because you don't even know what you're talking about. You've never even done it. So someone that lost money during the pandemic, that sounds about right. But, go ahead and talk shit. Right? Because you must know everything. So fast forward, the sisters all meet. It's going to be Ellie's birthday. They want to get a bouncy house. So they go to the bouncy house place. And the theme of the party is tea for two. And, Elizabeth is like, I'm just going to tell my sister. I'm going to rip off the Band-Aid and just let them know so that we can get this out here and now. And I already know that they're going to have a problem with it, which is what they did. So she tells them that they're going to be flipping houses, the three of them. And Jen thinks that it's super shady. And she thinks that Chuck is just handing over his money to Andrei, and that Andrei is cutting them out of the family business, and they're stealing money from her pockets and taking her job, taking Becky's job, and it's just shady. And Becky says, how dare Andrei? I helped him get his license. I helped him study. I did all of this, and how dare he step on my toes? Listen, you guys, I keep saying it. Chuck could end all of the nonsense. He could put us out of our misery so that we didn't have to listen to the same fight over and over and over and over and over again for 13 episodes by just putting his foot down and saying, this is your job. This is your job. This is your job. But at the end of the day, it's my company. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do with my money. If I'm getting manipulated, which he is, and used, which he is, by Andrei, so be it. Guess what? It's his company and his money. If he's going to take a loss to his son-in-law, then he's going to take a loss to his son-in-law. And I'm tired of everyone bitching about it and complaining about it and crying about it. It's his company. Okay? And if you all have a problem with daddy doing what he wants with his company, feel free to get a job elsewhere. You don't have to work for your dad. Andrei doesn't have to work for Chuck. This problem can be solved easily. But if you feel entitled and it's easy money for you and you've been able to manipulate your dad into funding your lifestyle as well, you can't then turn around and be mad about someone else doing what you've already done. And you're only mad because he's not your blood relative. And you're only mad because you hate him. Now, do I think Andrei is coming at it wrong and is he manipulating and using Chuck? Absolutely he is. But they're all doing the same thing. So I'm just personally tired of hearing the fight over it. If Chuck just would put his foot down, then none of us would hear about this because it's not even an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. That's how I feel. Miss Elite says, lesson learned, never do business with family. It would save us 14 episodes. Listen, do business with family, but all be on the same page. But when you guys are all entitled brats and everyone feels entitled to Chuck's money and their portion of the money, then that's when there's going to be a problem. And that's why you guys are all fighting. Okay? Again, I can say it. All of y'all can go get a job elsewhere and flip your own houses. Or you can start your own business. Since you all have the experience, start your own business, put your own capital in, and keep it pushing. Or Andrei, who has no experience, can go and get a job. Because we have yet to actually see him work, you guys. Absolutely. Have you seen him go outside? We've seen him try to be a trucker, and now he has his real estate license, but we haven't actually seen him sell a home. And I get he was a stay-at-home dad, and that's a job in and of itself, but like, we actually haven't seen him work. And even when he was back in Moldova, we didn't really know. He was a bouncer cop. Like, he's 30 something. I bet you I could count on one hand how many years he's actually worked in his life. And now he's entitled to Chuck's money. Like, don't even get me started. This whole thing is just stupid. It's just stupid and it's ridiculous. It's all like first world entitled problems. There are people that don't have jobs right now in the pandemic. There are people who, are still trying to put food on their table, and y'all are fighting over $100,000 that you want to be given. Get out of here. So, they get to the party. It's Ellie's second birthday, tea for two. Everyone's there except for Charlie and his wife Meg and their little family. And the sisters come in, guns a-blazing. They want to know if Andrei helped set up the party because it doesn't look like his style. It looks more like just Elizabeth did everything. Why do you care? Let's make this about the 2-year-old's birthday, and y'all just suck it up for one day. And not even one day. Suck it up for a couple hours so that everyone can have a good time. But no, that's not what happens. Andrei says that he's being tested and his capability to withstand the BS is being tested, but then he brings the BS to the table as well, because I will say this till I'm blue in the face as well. I think that A, he's a hothead, and B, the way that he cusses in front of children is mind-boggling to me. Your daughter is 2. Her brain is a sieve. Everything that you do and say, she's like absorbing. And the way you cuss out your wife and cuss out her family, it's deplorable to me. And you do it in front of your 2-year-old daughter with not a care in the world. It's disgusting to me personally. I just think it's unnecessary. You can have adult conversations with adults. And if you can't not make it about you for even a couple of hours to celebrate your 2-year-old's birthday, then that just says a lot about you, and it's very selfish. My opinion. Okay? My opinion. And if you want to fight, you have to fight. You just can't shut your mouth, and you can't not cuss. Then how about take it outside? Away from the children. Away from the 2-year-old's birthday celebration. How about that? Oh, but no, you're selfish, and it's just about you and your temper in the moment. You already know that the sisters are going to egg you on. That's what they do. We all know it. We've seen it for the past 13 episodes. So how about control yourself, control your temper, and suck it up. Be the bigger person. So they're fighting. Andrei wants to lose his mind. So instead of singing happy birthday and making it about his 2-year-old's birthday party, he wants to go and cut the cake before they've even sung happy birthday. So then Jen makes a big deal about it, and then Elizabeth makes a big deal about it, and Elizabeth starts like yelling at him. He stops, but he's already cut the cake in half. So they sing happy birthday, and then a whole fight breaks out at the party, and they all feel like Andrei's messing with their money, and every time and that Andrei's going to mess with their money, they're going to mess with him, right? Again, it's selfish, because again, it's Ellie's 2-year birthday party. But let's make it about you and your pockets. If that's not entitlement, I don't know what is. Fight breaks out. Jen throws a piece of cake in Andrei's face. Chuck says everyone's overreacting. Andrei tells them to get the fuck out of his house, and they get out and they say, we aren't going to be in a place that people talk to us like this. Meanwhile, there's like the young girl, Jen's like 10 or 11-year-old daughter that's listening to all this. And I think that that's the part that just disgusts me the most. You can act a fool, run amok, talk shit out of your mouth, do all that. Leave the kids out of it. Don't expose the kids to the toxic behavior. It's unnecessary and it's learned behavior. And so you're just teaching them how to not treat people right. And that's what they're picking up on. So that's going to be your legacy. And if you want to look at a mirror, you look at your children and you want to know why your children are assholes, it's because of you and you don't see it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you guys don't know, a lot of the cast members are in Los Angeles, California right now. A lot of them. The whole Pothouse family is in California, down to Elizabeth, Andrei, Becky, and Jen, and Meg. They're all here. Stephanie is here. Darcy and Stacy are here. They're all here. Asuelu and Kalani, they're all here. So they're filming for 90 Day Bears All. They're filming for a Darcy and Stacy Tell-All, and they're also filming, and I don't know if they're filming, but I want to say that they're solidifying the Pothouse family spinoff. That's going to be a thing. So there you go. That's all I have to say about them. I'm moving on to Jovi and Yara. They're going to Miami, and she wants to be bad and bougie in Miami. And they're taking Gwen because she can't be away from Mila. And so Gwen's going to be their vacay babysitter. And Jovi just really feels strongly about having some adult time, right? Some adult time with his wife and reconnecting with his wife. And ever since they had a baby and everything was like boom, 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 he doesn't feel connected and he's kind of feeling neglected by his wife. And I want to talk about that. But before I talk about that, I cracked up when Yara was like so excited about going to Miami. When she thinks of Miami, she thinks of drop tops, Cadillacs, Snoop Dogg, marijuana, and bathing suits. And I was like, you're not wrong. It's a lot more than that. It's all heat, Latin vibe, great music, great food, great parties. It's all that. So yeah, you should be excited. They get there. Yara loves Miami. And she makes a joke about how she should find an old rich man and just live in Miami. And Jovi's like, well, you wouldn't have our beautiful daughter if you found some old rich man, which I thought was funny because, if you know any of the stories behind your storyline, she's always wanted to marry someone from abroad, like an American. Like that has always been her goal. So I just thought that compliment was kind of funny for her to say on TV when you've seen like previous reality shows that she talks about how she wants to marry a foreigner and, move to America. So she loves Miami, she says. She thinks it's better than Louisiana. And this whole episode and even before, she talks crazy about New Orleans and how it stinks and how it's dirty and how there are homeless people. Yeah, it's stinking dirty everywhere. Okay. There are homeless people everywhere. There are homeless people in Miami. If you don't know, you can go to the beach and they live on the beach too. So you're going to find that in any major city. So I think that maybe perhaps don't be so judgy. Okay. It might not be a big city, but if you've ever been to Louisiana, you've been to or to New Orleans for their food. They have amazing food. They have amazing culture. The people are so friendly. Pre-pandemic, if you've ever gone for like Essence Fest or Fat Tuesday or any of that stuff, you can't have a better time. So I just don't understand why she keeps like crazy talking down about Louisiana. Vanessa says wrong coast and wrong rapper. Pitbull and Blow, maybe. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of marijuana though in Miami, and there are a lot of drop tops. I've seen a little bit of both. So I'll say wrong rapper for coast wise, but she wasn't far off on the rest. Okay, so Gwen's babysitting, and she's happy to do so because she feels like she sees some rockiness in their relationship, and she wants them to reconnect. Jovi wants them to reconnect and is hoping to reconnect as well. And so they're going to go on a date night. He's got whole rooftop plan, champagne plan, the whole 9 yards. Now, we've talked about this a little bit before, and I want to talk about it again because it really is a thing. So when you're in a relationship, sometimes this happens, and it's something that you have to deal with. It's you and your partner, right? It's been you and your partner, and so your attention is on your partner. Your partner is your primary focus. When you have your first child, it kind of interrupts the ebb and flow of just the two of you because now it's the three of you. And especially for new parents, your first baby, it's a high learning curve, right? So you're doing that, you're sleep deprived, all the things. So sometimes your partner can feel neglected because your partner has always been the center of your attention. And now that there's a baby, the baby's the center of attention, and the baby needs to be the center of attention because it's a baby, right? However, I do think it's important that you take time to stay connected to your partner because that's what created the baby. You follow me? So you still have to have like love and attention for your partner. You still have to romance them and make them feel wanted and make them feel needed and make them feel loved. Because if you neglect that, you're neglecting the foundation of your relationship. So some way in there, you have to have a balance. And that often is the problem with new parents is there's no balance. And so one partner ends up feeling neglected and the other partner feels resentful, right? Because they feel like they're doing all the work for the baby. And the other partner feels like they're not getting any of the attention and love and love that they need. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's difficult in the first part of when you have a new baby, right? Because you're sleep deprived and maybe you're breastfeeding and maybe you're trying to like balance work and the new baby and all of that stuff. But you have to make time to have sex with your partner when it's time to do so, like you're healed and all that. You have to make time. Sex is an important relationship. It was important before the baby and it should be important after the baby. And that's it. That's all. That's it. Like I hear crazy stories, you guys, and some of you married people can tell me if this is true, but there are some couples that get to a point where they're just like, maybe we'll have sex once a week. It's not that important because everything else comes into play. You've got soccer games and you've got homework and you've got laundry and you've got this and this and this. And so sex goes lower on the priority list. And then all of a sudden it's not there. I'm telling you this right now. It's important in relationships. It's important. It's a conversation that I always say you guys have to have immediately when you're in a serious relationship, and especially when you're married, and especially when things change. Once you have kids, you have to talk about it and find the happy balance. Because if you don't find the happy balance, that's when people cheat. And they're not cheating because they don't love you. They're cheating because you're not having sex with them anymore. And it's important. And it was important. And, you got to figure it out. Got to find the balance. And so that's what Jovi's trying to do. Jovi's trying to find the balance. He's having the way he's wording it, I know that it's coming off kind of terrible, right? Because it's kind of seeming like he's like, Mila's just a baby. And no, he's saying that he's trying to use his words and say, I miss my wife. I miss having good times with my wife. I want to spend some time with my wife. I want to reconnect with my wife. I want to have sex with my wife. I want to love on my wife, and I want my wife to love on me. And especially because he's gone for 3-4 months at a time, they don't get a lot of time together. So he wants to feel connected to her so that when he goes away for 3-4 months, he has something to remember that they connected on. That's not wrong. That's not wrong. They're still very young. So you find the balance. He's just not wording it right. Now, Yara feels like she has to be a specific way because she's a new mom, right? So yes, I agree. Your life absolutely changes when you have children, and being a new mom, first time mom, it can be scary and you're learning some things, and you also feel very protective over your child. And anyone that has more than one child, you guys, by the time if you have 3 children, the third child, the baby child, you are not half as crazy as you were with that firstborn, because the firstborn was like, you're still learning with the baby. Second kid, you got this. By the third kid, you're like, I could do this with my eyes closed, but they're not there yet. So I get why Yara is being extra protective, because this is her first baby, right? But Yara too has to find the balance. She has to, you wouldn't have a baby if you didn't have your partner. And if your partner didn't love you, you guys wouldn't have a family. So figure it out. Figure it out. But that's not what happens, of course. They go on this beautiful rooftop. Yara looks amazing. She just had a baby 5 months ago. She looks amazing. Joey looks good himself. And, you can tell she's sleep deprived because she had 5 seconds of quiet and she fell asleep in the Uber. And they get to their spot and they have a nice time. She thinks it's a perfect day and a perfect night. And then until she texts Gwen, because now it's nighttime, right? So long as she's been away from Mila, she hasn't heard from Gwen. So she's about to text Gwen to see, does Mila need her? Mila doesn't need her. Gwen's a mom. Her kids are grown. She's been there, done that. This is not brand new to her. And it's also not her first baby, right? So she knows what she's doing. They're fine. It's Yara who's having a hard time letting go. It's Yara that thinks that Mila needs her. But really, you guys, and again, the disclaimer is, I get it, brand new mom, you're figuring it out, and you feel more protective. However, I think it's tenfold for Yara because she feels like she's in the country by herself because her husband is gone all the time. So she's really clung on to Mila. Like that's her lifeline. Like that's the person that loves on her when no one else is around to love on her. So it's like that whole, you're getting into like smothered territory. However, I get it. It's her first baby. So she's calling Gwen and, Joey's not happy about it. He's trying to have a date night and they get in this big fight and he feels like she's using Mila as an excuse not to spend time with him and not to pay him any attention. And it's all the things that I just told you guys. It's all those things, right? You guys are saying the wrong things to each other. What's the actual root of the issue? The root of the issue is that one of the partners is feeling neglected. If you neglect your relationship will go away. And that is what he's trying to communicate. He's trying to prevent that from happening. But she's not hearing what he's saying. She's just hearing him say that it's about him. So she feels like he's being selfish and only thinking about him. And they fight. And she says life can't be the same because Mila needs her mama. Listen, it doesn't have to be the same, but you definitely have to find a balance. You definitely have to adjust. It's not going to be one or the other. I don't think her way is the right way. I don't think his way is the right way. I think they have to come somewhere in between. And especially because he's got the travel component in that relationship as well. So they're going to have to figure it out because I know she loves him when he's away. Like they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. She was so happy when he got back. She was crying. She was happy, all of that stuff. So think of that feeling that you have when your partner's away when he's there and channel that to him and let him know. And she should let him know and he should let her know as well. Equal. They should equally do it. Moving on to Brandon and Julia. They're packing. It's finally the big day for him and her to move out. And Brandon is talking about how he spent his whole life there on the farm and he's leaving it all behind. And I was like, oh, Dude, you're almost 30 years old. Okay. You're 30 and you live at home. It's not attractive to anybody. You've never paid a bill in your life. It's not attractive. Like, it's time to man up. Okay. And then you're complaining that you're leaving it all behind, but really we find out you're only 35 minutes away from the farm, so you could actually go home anytime. Your friggin' wife left her whole entire family and her country to be with you. So I think that you moving out of your parents' house is kind of not of a big deal. It's not like you're 18. You're like 28. Like, move out already. Leaving what behind? Your childhood? Yeah, it's about time to leave your childhood behind because you're a grown-ass man. So he's nervous. And again, he talks about leaving it all behind. And Julia says, the farm is not our problem now because it's not our farm. And she's right. Like, they need to start living their married life separate and apart. It's okay to do that, Brandon. It's okay to cut the cord. Okay? It's okay. But you're having apprehension because I don't think you really want to take on responsibility. Your mom does everything for you. She does. She does everything for you, and you're kind of okay with that. And now, because you are leaving so, quote, abruptly, your mom and your dad are kind of giving you some tough love. So you know that you're going to have to actually man up and like pay your own bills and do all of that stuff. And that's what's making you nervous. It's like, can you actually stand up and be a man? So he talks about how he's not excited to move, that he hates change. Ron and Betty are kind of just sitting there looking at them. And Brandon's a little worried about the farm, asked if they've found help for the farm. Now, you guys, again, I need to talk about last season when they had the farmhand that was training Julia. Did she quit? Is that what happened? Because we all know that farmhand is Betty's sister. So, like, where does she, and she lives right down the street. So did she just decide that she's not going to help her sister anymore? I'm confused. But apparently they found a worker that will work Monday to Friday, but won't work weekends. So then they're going to have to work on their own farm on the weekends. And they're upset about that because it's going to be every weekend. Well, it's your farm. So if you don't have to work Monday to Friday and you just work on the weekends, I feel like that means you have your whole week free. What's the problem again? Anyhow, Brandon offers to help on some weekends, and Julia says that she's not doing it. She's like, you're more than go and help your mom and dad on the farm. My time on the farm is over, and I'm not about to spend any of my weekends helping. She's done. Like, that's it. Was a little bit rude to say, I thought, in the midst of this whole little family sit down. I thought it was a bit rude of her to say, but I get where she's coming from. She never wanted to come to America and live on a farm, nor help on a farm, and she's done with it. I get it. I just think that maybe she could have not said it in front of Ron and Betty. Patty. Hey, Patty. Hey, girl. Hey. Patty, you guys, is one of my favorites. She's so funny. If you guys weren't at the block party, you absolutely missed out. We had a really good time. So Betty starts crying. She feels like she's losing her little boy, and she just can't do anything about it, even though he's only 35 minutes away. It's not like he's going to be on the farm anymore, but Julia feels like it's going to be better for their lives. It's going to be better for their sex life because they're living away from, being right beside the next bedroom of her parent-in-laws or whatever. Like, it's just, listen, you guys, just move out. You guys are grown. You're 28 and 29. It's time. It's time to start your own life. And so this whole thing about not being ready and being sad and leaving it all behind, it's just, Brandon, it's just time for you to move. It's time for you to be grown up. It's time for you to have some grown up responsibilities. You can always have Sunday dinners at your parents' house. You can always go on Saturdays and, help them on the farm. But it's time, my friend. Okay, you're almost 30. No one wants a mama's boy that has never even paid one bill before. You're married now. Okay? And the way Julia is talking, she wants to have a family soon. So you're going to need to learn how to actually be a man and pay some bills before you bring another human being into the world. and then it's too much for you. Like, figure it out. Okay? It's time. I guess I'm going to talk about Mike and Natalie now. No, I'm going to skip them. I'm going to save them for last. Okay? I'm going to talk about Kalani and Asuelu because there really wasn't anything happening too much. He's picking up his sister Tammy and her kids and Lucina, his mom. They're in town. They're going to spend the holidays together. But he goes to pick them up on his own because he's worried because Tammy's there, and Tammy, you know, is an asshole and she wants to fight everyone. She has a bad attitude and she has a little bit of entitlement in her system as well. And he's only really going there because his mom is moving back to Samoa and he wants to see her before she leaves. And he wants to also, you know, just have a relationship with his mom because he loves his mom. So they sit down and Tammy already tries to, like, he's not even there for 5 minutes, you guys, and Tammy's already creating problems. Mom's like, give me a kiss. Asuelu gives her a kiss, and Tammy's like, that wasn't even a real kiss. That was like some sideways kiss. It wasn't even real. Tammy, like, mind your own business. Like, why are we even making an issue when there's no issue whatsoever? And it's none of your business. He sits down for another 2 minutes and she wants to know, like, are you still have your job? Are you still working? Money's still good? Well, you should be sending money. You should be sending money. You should be sending money. So he's not even there for 5 minutes. She's already asking for money. Like, why are you up in his business? Are you sending money? And since there's 9 of them, is everyone sending money? Because if there's 9 of them, and let's say all of them just send $100, that's $900 a month. So why are you sweating Asuelu? I don't understand it at all. Amanda said, didn't they have a kissing on the mouth thing last season and we were all creeped out about it? Yes, they did. And yes, we were. So yeah, she wants money and she is definitely not on her best behavior. She's definitely not on her best behavior at all. Her like attitude is like right there and she's unapologetic about it. And so Asuelu's a little worried, right? He wants them to be on their best behavior. He doesn't want any fighting. He doesn't want any issues, especially at Christmas time, and especially at, you know, a home that's not theirs. And he tells them that everyone remembers the tell-all and how Tammy threatened to beat everyone up. And the mom's like, oh, that was in the past. We should move past it. We should just live in the moment. We should all love each other. And she blames Kalani and says, you know, your wife needs to be nicer and she should be nice to us while we were there. And in Samoa, we teach our kids to be nice and to listen. And I was like, well, then what happened to Tammy? Because Tammy is definitely not listening to anyone and she's not being nice to anyone. So whatever you did, it skipped her. So how about talk to your daughter and her shitty ass attitude and her expectations of something that's not even her business. Like, I don't even understand why she gets so upset that her brother is not sending enough money to the mom. Like, that's not even your business. That's between Asuelu and his mom. Like, send the money that you're supposed to send. Let all the other kids send the money that they're supposed to send. And, like, you stay in your own lane. And then you want to now fight your brother's wife and her sister over their money. Just, you know, stop it. Just stop it. Stevie says the mom and Tammy are insane. They're insane. And we haven't forgotten, okay, that Mama Lucina said that she doesn't care about the kids. Just give me the money. So this is a shakedown, my friends. We're about to see a shakedown. So Mama Lucina is scoping and Tammy want to come to the house because they want to see how nice the house is so they can adjust their amounts accordingly. Okay, that's all this is. That's all this is. It's not, oh, I'm going to Samoa and I want to see my son before I go. No, you want to see where your son lives and what you can get from that house before you go. So lock all your silverware down because if they don't get it from you, I wouldn't put it past them for them to take what they want. I wouldn't. And I saw the previews and I am not far off. Anyhow, so Asuelu wants Tammy to humble herself and to have a nice attitude, to have a nice personality, and to be on her best behavior. And she's like, well, I'll be on my best behavior if I feel like it. But if they come close to me, then I'm not going to be on my best behavior. And they're in for something. Okay. Listen, I can already see that you're not trying to be on anyone's best behavior. You're trying to be a jerk, and you're trying to shake down your brother and his family, and it's not going to go good for you. Okay. Because the difference is Papa Lo's there, and I personally think that Colini, the sister, can throw down. So Tammy, you can be all bark, 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 but don't be surprised if you get bitten by someone that you least expected it from. Last and certainly just done with them is Natalie and Mike. They're still fighting. And while they're fighting, Natalie is getting closer to her friend Juliana and is telling Juliana all her problems and basically has moved in with Juliana and, is done with Mike, really. So Angelica says, this is the time. Facts. When Tammy and the mom come over, this is the time where you use the paper plates and cutlery. You hide the silverware because these fools are about to pocket it so they can go sell it and make some money. Facts. Juliana says that Mike is gaslighting Natalie. And Natalie feels manipulated, and she thinks that because she's a foreigner and English is a second language, that Mike is manipulating her. She tells Juliana that, Trish called her an immoral character and a hooker, and she has not let that go yet. And Mike says that she made it up and that she's hearing things. And I just don't understand why we just can't see the footage. The cameramen were there. We were all there. They just cut out so that we could see that part of the Christmas trip or the Thanksgiving trip it was. Go ahead and just roll that footage back for us. I don't understand. Let's just cut this nonsense out, whether she said it or she didn't say it. Cut it out, show us the footage, and then we'll deal with it. We can all see it, and we don't have to hear about it again. Either she said it, she didn't say it. Well, no. You have the footage. Just show the footage. I have a feeling they have the footage and they're saving it for 90 Day Bears All, because that's where they always show all the cut footage. I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see it on Bears All. So for now, and that's why we keep talking about it and we keep hearing about it, is because they want us to remember so that when they do show us, they'll be like, oh yeah, they talked that till we were blue in the face. So Natalie gives this weird analogy, and I can't even really repeat it verbatim, so I'm just going to kind of give you an overview. She talks about an elephant and a stick, and the stick is tied to the elephant, and then the elephant grows up and it can break free from the stick or I don't know, the string, but Mike doesn't do that, and Mike's her big elephant. It was so convoluted. I was like, what are you even saying? Are you trying to just say Mike's a mama's boy? Then say that, because this little analogy is so weird. What elephant is tied? Where did you see that? Where did you see an elephant tied with a stick and a string to the mom? Where? Is that an old Ukrainian saying? And if it is, can someone tell me? Because I just didn't get it. So she's just talking shit to Juliana. Juliana says, you should just really talk to your husband, which she should. And so she's with Mike and they're walking and she wants to talk. She realizes they're going through a lot. They've been fighting a lot. And she feels like he shuts her down a lot and doesn't listen. She's not over what happened in Oklahoma. And she's still mad with his mom and feels like the mom is Mike's not only manipulating her, but the mom's manipulating her too. And he's just not hearing her. Okay. Then we have to camera. Okay. They're sitting on the couch. Originally, their hand his hand is in her hand. They're trying to be all lovey-dovey, and then shit pops off. And the producers are like asking, so like, what happened? What happened with this whole hooker thing? Like, what happened? Right? So Natalie explains it away. Mike is like, no, that didn't happen. And just let's call my mom and let's talk about it. And she's like, oh, I don't have my phone. He's like, well, I'll go get it for you. So he walks away. He comes back and she calls. And they haven't talked since she's been in Tulsa. And Natalie says, you got something in your mind when I was there visiting, and I need to know, why do you feel that way, right? So she doesn't overtly ask her. She's like, you think of me one way, and I need to know why you think of me that way. And Trish says, well, because you don't treat my son right. You don't treat Michael kindly. You're mean to him all the time, and he provides everything for you, and you're ungrateful, and you're not nice. And she goes off. She's like, what does he provide? Food? Because I don't have my green card? No, Natalie, actually, he provides everything, really, if you think about it. It's not just your food. It's the roof over your head. It's all the bills. You drive his truck. You don't have the money to pay for the gas that goes in the truck. And, the wood that you put in the fireplace, that has to be purchased by someone. Like, it's not just food, Natalie. Like, he's actually taking care of a whole grown person while you can't work in the country that you live in. So I feel like you should be a little bit more appreciative, whether this relationship is working out or not. You just sound ungrateful. And you sound ungrateful on national TV saying, ooh, what does he provide? The food? And even if he didn't just provide the food, he's providing you food. What would you do elsewise with no money and no job? And then Mike's yelling. He's yelling, just ask her if she called you a hooker, right? So Natalie doesn't directly ask. Trish hears it from Mike, who's yelling on the sidelines, and she denies it, and she starts yelling, and she tells Natalie to knock it the fuck off. And it's all about what she wants to do, and she manipulates Mike, and she doesn't love Mike, and she's acting terribly, and she's acting like just a spoiled brat, and Trish is not here for it. Now, here's the thing. I don't like it when Natalie gets her friends involved. I think that she should talk directly to her husband, but I absolutely can't stand it that Mike is having his mom fight his battles for her. So, or fight his battles for him. So, that Mike has been like calling his mom on his way to work, because that's when they talk, right? Remember that? Every 5 a.m., that's when they get their me time in, and just been bitching about Natalie. Because how does Trish know all of this stuff if Mike hasn't told her? And Mike hasn't communicated to Natalie whatsoever. But now you want to grow some balls because your mama's fighting your battle for you. It's not a good look. But he feels like a little bit empowered. So he's standing up. He's screaming at the producers. He's screaming at Natalie. He's just screaming. And he feels emboldened because his mom's on the phone, and the mom has already been telling Natalie off. And now they want to talk about the fight that they had on Christmas Eve. They had a fight on Christmas Eve. She went to Seattle, and it was their first Christmas together, apparently. And he got her a bunch of gifts. She gathered up the gifts, took it to her friend Julia's house, and gave it to her friend and all of her family. So the gifts that Mike bought for her, she gave them away to her friends. And he didn't appreciate that. It's a bit petty. It's a bit petty of her, for sure. I'd be pissed too. It's a bit petty. But she did it. He's screaming, anyone in the room disagree that this is childish? She does 7-year-old tantrums. It's not okay. She can't even say that she loves me. Say that you love me. You haven't spent any time with me. Then we find out that since Christmas, she's only stayed one night with him. All the other time, she's been staying with her friend Juliana, and mentions that she now has a room there. And then mentions, you guys, that I will say this, and I felt bad, but I'm going to say it anyways, that he said that they made love the night before, and then 10 minutes later she got up and left and went back to Juliana's house to her room. Now, you guys, I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound terrible, but I'm just bringing you the facts. I'm just bringing you what I know to be true. So if you guys don't know, there is a video of Mike that was circulating last week. And if that is, allegedly it's him. I don't know if it's him for sure. It's allegedly. But if this alleged video is true, then I'll just say I get why after they made love, she got up and left 10 minutes later. I'll say that. You can't be gaslighting and you can't, how can I say this? You just can't be gaslighting someone and yelling at them and having their mama yell at you and not have anything to work with, allegedly. You can't be doing all that. Because you know what? If you ain't got anything to work with and it ain't that good, yeah, I can see how someone's going to get up and leave and not come back. How someone's going to get up and only spend one night with you because what is she getting out of this? I didn't say this. I'm just going to pop this. This is what Crystal said. Crystal said, "Don't gaslight me with a darn thumb in your pants." I mean, so that happened. He starts screaming, "What's your end game, Natalie? What's your end game?" Okay, so I want you guys to all take a minute and think about when we met Natalie and Mike. And I want you to specifically remember the tell-all, the first tell-all, where they were fighting and they were separated and they didn't know if they should get together. Okay. I want you to remember that. And they had officially broken up. That's where this relationship should have ended. Because the same fights that you've been having for the past 3 years before you got married was the same fight that you were having. Y'all don't even like each other. And word on the street is, you guys, that she received her green card over the Christmas holidays. And that's why she started spending less time with Mike, because she was like, I don't need him. I have my green card now. Word on the street is that as soon as she had that green card in her hand, she even left her friend, her best friend, Julia, and went to Florida, went to Miami. And word on the street is, and I already talked about this, so I don't mind breaking this news to some of you guys that are new, but that she has a man, he's a hotelier in Florida, and that's why she's been spending so much time in Florida. It's because her new man is from Florida, and he's rich. Hotel rich. So that's that. That's what happened. And it was an ugly fight. And this whole episode was just ugly fights, left, right, and center. But Natalie and Mike took the cake on this fight. They aired all their dirty laundry. And it was yucky. It was yucky, y'all. Yucky. Anyways, guys, that's the show. Thank you for joining me. Again, tomorrow, earlier time for Love After Lockup, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then Darcy and Stacy will be at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thanks for joining me. I had a great time. Make sure that you have, wherever you're watching before you sign off, you hit that thumbs up. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.